Dajahao everyone. Hi everyone, my name is Akio Morita Sanga and I'm the poet that engineer designs. Today we'll be interviewing a brand called Robotics Masters. Robotics Masters is preparing the world for an autonomous world basically. And they're providing an insight of why they built the brand, what problems they are trying to solve, and basically preparing the next generation of children, hobbyists, and entrepreneurs for robotics. They would like to empower anybody who is interested in robotics. So it was a pleasure to do this interview, and I hope you like it. We're giving air to the voice.
I'm Hans, I'm from Germany. I run a software development company in Germany for many, many years already. And I come to Shenzhen about 2.5 years ago because I wanted to do more hardware stuff.
Why did you get into computer engineering? What's your backstory?
So my grandfather gave me a soldering iron when I was, I think, 8 years old. And I built a light for the dog's house in the garden. So that was one of my first things, soldering cables together and stuff like that. So, and I'm playing with this stuff all my life. Okay. Yeah, it's my passion basically, right?
What problems does Robotics Masters solve?
Basically lowering the entry barrier for people that are not good with hardware to run this small self-driving car. It's called Donkey Car. It's an open source project, and it uses a Raspberry Pi initially with a servo controller. It's just a PWM controller thing, but you need to have 2 batteries, one for the car and one for the Raspberry Pi, and you need to connect like 20 cables on the car individually, usually with the Dupont jumper cables. Look like this. Where do I have a few? So you have like 20 of these individual cables you need to connect up in the right way. One is wrong and nothing works. And what we basically did is we built a board that makes this look like this. So you just plug in your remote control and the servo and the motor controller, and that's it. And you only need one battery because there's a power management on here that creates the power for the Raspberry Pi from the main car battery.
Okay.
So we solve lots of issues with getting started and add more additional features. So this board has an IMU too, which is more interesting for the drones than the car actually. But still, you can use this on the car too. The IMU gives you the actual acceleration and rotational data, so you know where in space and how oriented your car is and how fast it's moving, which is useful for the AI to better get around.
How could you say that Shenzhen is, okay, since your arrival, can you say that Shenzhen is more developed for technology startups?
Well, the whole reason I'm here is because of Shenzhen, especially Washangbei, the place we are here at. This is the world headquarters for electronics. Like whatever component you need, you can go downstairs or to the next building and you can get it. Like everything on this board is available within half an hour walk right here. I want to build this in Germany. First of all, I pay 10 times more, and then it takes about a week or something from DigiKey or Mouser to arrive. And it's still difficult to assemble this at home. So we have a pick and place machine and the reflow oven here. And if you want to get this board assembled, it only takes like 3 or 4 days. So our production run is like 500 boards of this only. And it took like 3 days from order to get the finished boards. Okay. So that's ridiculously simple. It's much cheaper and much, much, much faster. So the biggest benefit you get from being here is you have better access to all of the tools and all of the things you need. So you can be much, much faster.
In terms of robotics, do you think China is number one?
Well, Germany has been number one for sure for a long time. Like, think of KUKA Robotics, but they got bought by a Chinese company now, right? Yeah. So if they are not number one now, they are catching up very, very quickly, and they make sure they will be number one in the future by buying the proper assets.
I mean, in terms of innovation, has China produced innovative products?
Yeah, for sure. There's lots of innovation going on here in Shenzhen at least. Lots of research and new products getting developed here and not just copied or something, like really genuinely new things. Look at companies like DJI, for example, or BYD for all the electric cars. I believe they will own the market very, very soon. If you look at the buses, the public bus in Shenzhen, they are all electric, they are all BYD. I don't know how many 100 million kilometers they already run on these things. They have experience. And even though there's big and good car manufacturers in Germany, they just don't have the experience that BYD gained during the last 2 or 3 years already here in China. So I don't know how they would want to catch up with this.
What would you say to Africans that want to pursue robotics as an inspiration?
Well, it's not that difficult to get started. If you want to have a simple SCARA robot that just moves and lifts things in 2 axes, that's very simple to get started. And you can build them from simple materials. You don't need high tech to build this thing. And you can have small controllers taking care of all of that. They are available. Many of the resources are open source. If you're talking about more complex robots, there's open source operating systems like ROS, for example, for powering all kinds of robotics things. There's computer vision available open source. So the entry barrier is relatively low. You need to have a broad experience in many different fields, or you need to have a bigger team with experiences. But I don't think it's a big problem to do this. And the resources to learn about the things are available online too. So you don't need to go to a university and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get the education you need to get started.
Will robotics replace human beings? What is your thought on that?
Well, not now. Well, if you're talking about AGI systems, there's lots of research going on this for AI safety, for example. So if you have a general intelligence that is capable of similar thoughts and abstraction like humans, how do you make sure that their goals align with your goals? So the main problem about this is you need to make sure that the goals the AI is trying to achieve are compatible with the goals that you as a human would want to achieve. If they are not related to each other, then the AI might go rogue, and this might end very badly. We are not there yet, but research is actually already thinking about how to solve these things. Being a hacker, which means you use things that are not meant to be used in that way. And I started this when I was a very small child. Like, I disassembled all the toys that my parents gave me. I have a screwdriver and I have a toy, and very soon after there will be many parts of the toys on the floor. And usually I can't assemble it again because I'm still a small child. But so that's how I started. And then you use things for different purposes. So I built a small UPS for my computer, for example. This is just an old battery from a scooter that has been used for some time. I added a small off-the-shelf battery management controller, and it's just missing a plug now. And then I can run my small computer or laptop from this as an uninterruptible power supply. So just reuse things in a way they are not meant to. That's something that hackers do like every day, and that gives you some trouble sometimes.
Okay, so right now we're going into the next room, and he'll be giving us an insight and educating us about the robot, how it works, and just basically some simple functionalities. So stay tuned and keep watching the video.
This is the car, and there's a Jetson Nano. It's a computer board, and this is the board we developed for the driving trim part, and then the car only operates on the camera itself, so you capture the image of the track, and then also recording your remote control value as well, taking the pictures. Okay. And then you use all the data to train on this Jetson Nano, and then you get a model, and then you run the model. The model will mimic what you just collected, and then just drive on yourself on the track.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can this application be applied to real cars?
Well, I think Tesla is using camera-only cars as well, but they are more advanced as they're using like mobile stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but this is basically the series like behind how does the car work. But there's application maybe like people could use that as an HV in the warehouse and stuff to monitor a certain area. So yeah, something like that. But hopefully I can get it working. So now I need to start the program for the program to run the model.
Okay, could you tell us the program you're using?
So the whole program stack is called Donkey Car software, and it's using Python programming language too.
It was a pleasure to interview some Robotics Masters. Robotics Masters is a brand that believes by preparing our children for the next generation of the autonomous world, they'll be able to innovate it much better than we did. Robotics have got a various usage, I can say. They can be used for construction, surgery, in the aerospace industry, and a variety of stuff. So I'm glad everybody got to tune in and learn something about robotics. And subscribe, like, and follow, and we're giving air to the voice. Zaijian. Keep watching for the next kinds of videos that are going to come up that are going to be creative, innovative, you know. We're giving air to the voice to all the entrepreneurs, innovators in Shenzhen, Shanghai, Beijing, and subsequently the world. So, Zaijian, and see you next time.